When agents are handling repetitive tasks, you want them to avoid inconsistent results or variability. You want them to be accurate and fast. Sema4.ai makes this possible with named queries, reusable, parameterized SQL statements that you define, manage, and trust. Packaged as actions, these queries give your agents a deterministic way to access live data from Snowflake or any other database, with consistent results and high performance. In this tutorial, we will build an AI agent powered by named queries, starting with a SQL statement in Snowsight and ending with a production-ready agent that returns accurate, dynamic results from your Snowflake data. To follow along, you will need a few things in place. First, make sure your Sema4.ai Studio is connected to a Snowflake account. Second, you will need the Sema4.ai SDK installed, either in VS Code or Cursor, with the data server running locally. And finally, you should be comfortable writing basic SQL. That's all you need to get started. Let's begin by writing the SQL query in Snowsight. We will use a table of customer service calls from a sample Snowflake database. In this example, we'll build a query that returns resolved calls with high satisfaction scores, filtered by issue type, a common support analytics pattern. If you prefer, you can also use Snowflake Copilot to help draft the query. Behind the scenes, Copilot uses table metadata and schema information to understand your request, and generates a SQL query that matches your intent. Paste the generated query into your worksheet or write it yourself, and run it to make sure it returns the expected results. Once your query is working, copy it over. We'll now turn it into a production-ready action your agent can run. We'll now use the Sema4.ai SDK in VS Code to build the action package. Open the command palette and run the Create Action Package command. When prompted, choose Use Workspace folder. This is the recommended option if your workspace will only contain one package. Give your package a name. Choose the Data Access Native Query template. This sets up everything you need: a working environment with placeholders for your data sources, queries, and dev testing. Now open the file called datasources.py. You'll see a sample data source already defined. Let's edit this to define your own Snowflake data source. Next, head over to the SDK extension. Under the Data Sources section, you will see the data source we just defined. Click Set Up Data Source button next to it. This brings up a connection settings screen. You'll notice the engine is already set to Snowflake and the name is pre-filled from our code. Now we just need to fill in the rest. For credentials, you don't need to enter anything. Since your studio is already connected to Snowflake, just select the linked option. If you're not linked, you may use other supported methods of authentication. Next, fill in the rest of the Snowflake details, your warehouse, database, and schema. Click Add, and you're done. Your data source is ready to use. Now let's bring your query into the action package. Open dataactions.py. Start by replacing the SQL block in the sample function with the version you tested in Snowsight. Next, scroll to the top of the file. Update the import reference. It should be the data source you defined in datasources.py. Then rename the function to something more meaningful and update the arguments to include the parameters. Let's add a doc string. This not only documents the function, it also helps the agent understand what the action does, what inputs it expects, and how to use it correctly. Next, update your SQL query to reference the parameters using $sign placeholders. Finally, update the parameter dictionary so the inputs match what's used inside the query. Your name query is now parameterized and ready to test. The Sema4 AI SDK offers strong dev and debugging tools, including a built-in feature for running queries with test inputs. Click Run Query above your function. The first time you do this, you'll be prompted to generate a test input file. Select the option to create a new input JSON. The SDK will place it inside a dev data folder, usually named after your function. Update the input values to match your test case, then save the file. Click Run Query again. The SDK will call your function, substitute the parameters, and return a table of results, just like your agent would at runtime. Once you've seen the results from your first test, you can try another input without modifying any code. Just add another entry to the input JSON. For example, you could test for a different issue type or satisfaction threshold. Now, click Run Query again. This time, the SDK will prompt you to select which input you want to use. Choose the new one. It will rerun your function with the updated values and return a fresh result. Once you've validated the results with different inputs, your query is ready to be packaged and published. Go to the Sema4 AI SDK panel and click Publish to Sema4 AI Studio. This will automatically package your code and send it to your studio. Once published, your action will appear in the gallery, ready to be added to any agent. Let's create an agent that can call your name query. In Studio, go to the Agent section and create a new agent. Give your agent a name and a short description. Next, pick a large language model to power your agent. Then, add the action you just published. This connects your agent to the name query, so it can retrieve data from Snowflake based on the user's input. Once the action package is added, open the runbook. This is where you define the agent's overall behavior, how it responds, what it can do, and how it should use each action. We're keeping the runbook simple for this tutorial, just enough to wire up the action and let the agent respond. When you're done, close the runbook and click Create to finish setting up your agent. That's it. Your agent is now wired up and ready to respond. Now it's time to see your agent in action. Let's start with this prompt. The agent parses your input, fills in the parameters, and calls your name query. You will see a structured response, returned instantly and formatted clearly. It's fast, accurate, and grounded in the logic you defined. Let's try another one. Each time, your agent adapts to the input, but behind the scenes, it's running the exact SQL logic you wrote. In just a few steps, you went from writing SQL query to building an agent that runs it securely, dynamically, and in production. There's no dependency on interpretation, no round trip through natural language, just precise, real-time execution of the logic you trust. You can also extend this agent with more name queries across various data sources, combine it with unstructured search, or connect with ERPs using other actions. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Stay tuned for more ways to build powerful, production-ready agents with Sema4 AI.